pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have our visitors for presentation, but do we have any other comments or visitors tonight? Okay, great, thanks. So can I get a motion to approve the agenda? I move to approve the agenda. All in favor? Motion passes. We will move right to student presentations. I know Malak is not going to be here tonight. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda? I move to. Thanks, Mike. All in favor? I have a piece of paper tonight. I have my computer. I just scrolled right past. Yep. I know Malak is not able to join us tonight, so we will move to FBLA state recognition, which has Sarah.
I have nothing to present.
I do though. Oh.
Okay, so at the FBLA State Conference, we were excited and also kind of bummed because we had nominated Sarah for Volunteer of the Year for FBLA. And some years they let you know if your nominee has won, and other years they don't. And this year they did not tell us. So when we were seated there and she was announced, we were all very excited and also very bummed because we know she would have been there. So I want to do two things. I wanted to read the nomination letter that I wrote, and then we will present Sarah with the plaque. They did a much nicer job summarizing my letter and things, but I'm just going to read it to you. So it says, with great pleasure that I write this letter to nominate Sarah Cox for the FBLA Volunteer of the Year Award. Sarah has been a member of the Creswell School District School Board for the last 3 years. For the past 3 years, although her student was not involved in FBLA, Sarah has volunteered her time to support our FBLA chapter at many events and opportunities. She's also a parent of a former Creswell Middle School student who volunteered regularly for school and athletic events when her child attended here. Sarah Cox has served as a guest speaker to our chapter for 2 years when we needed this as part of the chapter government promotion program. She spoke to our members about what it's like to serve on the school board, as well as what the election process was like for her when she ran for the position. For the past 2 years, she has volunteered South Umpqua FBLA regional competition that we hosted at our school. This year, she graciously stepped in to deliver the games that I typically do, and did a great job, and also read the names for our award ceremony. Last year, she also served as a judge at the regional competition hosted at our school. In general, when she had a student at CMS, she regularly chaperoned school field trips, donated items to school and classrooms, and helped at our school sporting events. She was also the chairperson of the 8th grade parent committee when her student was in 8th grade. And whenever we need anything, Sarah is the person that you phone. So it's an amazing honor to recognize her and her amazing volunteer work. And so congratulations, Sarah. Thanks. What's really neat is that on our board, we actually have 2 people, because Lacey was also recognized, I think, our first year. So from in Creswell School District, we have 2 FBLA state volunteers of the year. So thank you.
Now I FaceTime me, and I was like, "That's FaceTiming me." And I'm sitting in home in our massage chair, and I was like, "Hello." He's like, "Are you here?" And I was like, "No." He's like, they're all cheering, and I was like, "What is happening?" He goes, "You just won volunteer of the year." And I was like, "For what?" And I was like, "Was nobody else nominated?"
Anyway, thanks. It's an honor.
Thank you, Sarah. Okay, so we will move forward to the CHS and CMS social studies curriculum adoption recommendation. Sure. Yeah. Okay. You guys can start.
Okay, we're gonna start. So the slide you see right here is basically the members of the adoption committee for both school sites. Social studies history teachers from both CMS and CHS, as well as the site principals. We wanted to make sure to revisit the Creswell mission, purpose and vision, because anytime we do an adoption, we want to make sure that we keep the purpose and vision for our school district in mind. The next slide shows the programs that were available to adopt that span 6-12, because whenever we can, we want to make sure, if possible, that we're considering an alignment, whether that be K-12 or 6-12 or K-8. And so these were the programs that were up for adoption that did span both the middle and high school levels. And the next slide, our teachers at CMS are going to talk about our priorities for the curriculum adoption.
Right, so our criteria when we started was we wanted to have the unit to have a hook. So something, a story or some kind of piece that would bring the students in and get them engaged. The unit has students creating a project or hands-on activity or a simulation of some type. We wanted it to include assignments, either workbook, be able to print or actively do activities, and then mapping exercises, some maps that are teacher ready. The unit also needed to include many opportunities for students to engage in group discussions. We wanted some collaboration in group discussions. Curriculum needed to include multiple forms of assessment. The curriculum is easy for students and teachers to access and use both digitally and physically. We want to make sure we had physical textbooks that match our digital, so students could access it at home. It includes a scope and sequence that follows the newest Oregon State social studies standards and has multiple lessons to address each standard. So the social studies standards, if you follow the history a little bit, they changed and then they changed back again. So one of the things they did was split for middle school, Eastern and Western hemisphere, and then it split back into chronological. And so that's the difficult part. If it switches back to chronological, you're just trying to piece everything through the textbook. So that part was nice. And the textbook has colorful and engaging pictures throughout the unit. So we have a lot of visual learners, so having something they can look at. And the text provides maps throughout the unit and maps in the appendix for reference. Oftentimes, having the maps that interact on the digital is nice so that they can see the different movements. And then also too, it's more up to date than some of the atlases in my room. K-12 alignment, super important. And then the score from ODE on the rubric. That was important for us. Obviously, a lot of social studies teachers spent a lot of time putting stuff together. So looking at what they scored was
which takes us to the next slide. So the ODE put together a slide like this for all of their textbooks. There's, I think, 11 different standards or criteria they were looking at. And so like I said, we had 8 different options to look through, 8 different publishers, and the McGraw-Hill book was the only one for the middle school that had 2s on everything. And so that was kind of got our attention. So it aligns to standards, hit scope and sequence, practice and skills, engagement, motivation, cultural responsive, instructional support, support for teachers, support for students, digital learning design elements, formative assessment process, performance assessments, and integrated assessment all scored 2. And so they got the lovely little blue thing that indicated that it was exemplary. And then there's a bunch of links in this slide that the state gave us. And so they had a big, huge spreadsheet of like each one of those criteria broke down in like further standards. And there was basically no flags on any of the criteria versus several of the others that had 1s or even 0s. So we were like, this is a pretty good endorsement from the state side. Yeah.
All right, and so the thoughtful print and digital customization. So again, having both available and that they match up so you can go seamlessly back and forth. The 100% aligned with standards. So the McGraw-Hill they're aligned with Oregon standards. So there's specific printings in here to match Oregon standards. And some of you'll see in some examples that some of them are actually like Oregon examples, which we really liked. Multiple perspectives through primary and secondary sources. One of the things that they have is document-based questions using primary sources, pictures, letters, old newspapers, and having questions around those so that you're diving in and kind of doing some inquiry and analyzing, which are both, if you've been in the social studies world for a while, those have been, inquiry was a long time focus, and then now analyzing primary sources. So it tied both of those. The other thing was the actively learn, which is it gives you access to current news articles that have been created with the curriculum. And so they can tie in stuff that's in the textbook with some current information, and those are part of the Oregon adoption. It's normally an add-on, but they've included it in part of the Oregon adoption. It's similar to Newsella in the sense of you could pick something to go with your curriculum. Also interactives, they have Kahoot games that are tied, they're already made and you can access them, and then active classroom activities. Most of them have each unit has a project base as well. So students will learn about something and then have to create something to go with it. And a lot of times it was create something that they could use today. So bringing in those concepts and then they have a chance to get hands on. So we really liked that. The personalized learning, the smart book. So this is similar to iReady and then formative assessment all in one, is the students can read and they're trying to answer the questions, and as they match it up, if they get it wrong, it will highlight back where they could have found the answer. And then what we get as instructors is we get data showing what was difficult for the students, how many students got that first try, what are some areas we need to look at, and that's a nice quick formative assessment for planning for the next day, which is nice to have it like set up the data right away for us. Our customized assessment, so it comes with 2 assessments for each unit, which is nice because we can customize them. So one of the things that really stood out for me was some of our IEP students, part of their IEPs have to use choices and then also the test run to them. So I can take out some of the wrong answers and then have the computer will read it to them. So that was, I thought, super helpful, because sometimes that's a part that you're trying to figure out how to do that quickly and provide that for a student if you don't have an EA available. And then built-in differentiation and strategies on Lexiles. The Actively Learn has different Lexiles you can choose before you print them out or have the students do it. But you can also set the digital textbook to go 2 levels down, and it has the Lexiles so that they can they'll get the information, but at the reading level, the lower reading level. So we really liked being able to do that, and it looks the same. So that was the other thing, is that students can't tell that they're reading a different Lexile compared to the person next to them.
So if we were to kind of go through these quick, these are just some kind of screenshot examples of some of the different kind of bits from McGraw-Hill with being flexible with easy instruction. There's a lot of correlations available in the planning documents, which is kind of what you see here, detail breakdown of how to put a lesson. So it's something that we can step into easy, be able to customize as needed. So they have like a full list of all possibilities, kind of can go menu style and pick what works best for our class, change it up from year to year, but have a lot of resources available so that we're not having to reinvent the wheel. So both with the kind of the breakdown standards from the state, so we can see where each lesson is tying in with state standards, and then that kind of lesson menu on the next slide. And so this one and the next slide both, again, the textbook has a lot of built-in content that are tying directly into our local standards, and local content, I think on the next slide actually has this better. So there are so this is kind of the content some of the textbooks the students would see. On the next slide has different activities that are tied in with local statewide stuff, so state references, as opposed to us either having to find that from a third source or having to do a generalized national activity. So this one ties in better with that. And again, there's lots and lots of resources that are all in one, so we're not having to go through. So we have reading and writing activities, print versions, and then as Kendra alluded to, we've got a lot of the resources online that we can either print out as a PDF or we can customize, send out digitally to the kids. So there's a lot of flexibility on all of that as well. And so then this is also pulling in with some of the new state standards. The new stuff has a lot to do with discussion about genocide and anti-Semitism, Holocaust. So there's some very specific materials aimed at that, and world religions handbooks. All of this is included as well.
Okay. Yeah. So based on the ODE rubric and our goals and CMS priorities rubric, our committees recommend to adopt the McGraw-Hill social studies curriculum at CMS for 6th to 8th grade. As an added bonus, CH is proposing to adopt the same curriculum. So that is an added bonus. We are very excited.
And I guess also adding that too, with the McGraw Hill folks have already set up and made offer to do training, so that way we're not having to like crack all this open and explore and figure it out on our own. They'll come in and help set us off in our.
Yeah, they did already a special little
Yeah.
session with us, cause we got to hear their pitch, but we really wanted to get to the nitty gritty. They came down and talked with us. And then I came across a question and I was like, I don't know how to do this, and they were able to answer me from my email right away, which was huge. I felt.
Yeah. And promising
Very
with other like tech support and all of that stuff too throughout the adoption period. Yeah.
So similarly, going through this process, it's been a lot of fun. I've been in district now for 13 years, and Bill.
A little longer than that.
And this is my first time going through this, and so it was really kind of interesting, just the whole process. But we set up priorities for the high school similarly as the middle school. And we just honed in on these as we combed through the various textbooks and curriculum. And McGraw Hill just jumped out at us for a variety of reasons. So much like what the middle school kind of highlighted, we love the fact that they're aligned to Oregon standards. And first and foremost, that checked a big box for us. But then secondly, Bill and I both have a lot of passion for history, and we want our high school students to be thinking like historians. And we want them to be analyzing primary source documents, evaluating evidence, and building arguments through that engagement. And so we feel like the offerings do that. Similar results with ODE and how they evaluated the textbooks. They gave this particular set, I think, the highest one.
Highest scores, yeah.
The highest scores. And through our evaluations, we came to that same conclusion. They're just well-rounded textbooks that offer our students, I think, a lot of opportunities. So here we have, we're looking to adopt in both US history, economics, world history, and civics, along with psychology and sociology. But they didn't have, ODE did not have those scores published. But all incredible marks. Something that myself and Bill really kind of honed in on was the rhythm within the books, whether it was US history, world history, or even the middle school offerings. They have a framework by which the textbooks are designed. And as we're looking at maybe doing some alignment with the middle school, this really kind of jumped out. Like, we can start teaching kids in 6th grade how to engage with these books, and they're going to just be refining those skills throughout their experience. By the time we get them, it's going to be easy. So maybe you can ask for a raise or something. But the units are set up in like a 4-lesson system or framework, as I said, and it would be like an introduction where you're kind of engaging prior knowledge, and then we have learn the events. So in learn the events, we're just building context. At that point, we can dive into an inquiry lesson where we present a compelling question and let the students kind of think like historians and dive in. And then finally, each unit has review and apply. And so this is where the assessments come alive. And so then we're kind of testing those learning objectives that we've set forth to determine whether or not, they're getting it. So here is a snapshot of the world history high school level textbook. And so what I like about it is it starts with learning objectives and then also provides us with some skills that we're going to be honing in on. Additionally, it provides us with a suggested pacing guide. And I really like this because it gives us a snapshot of, okay, we're talking World War I and its aftermath. How long are we spending on this topic? And what are we going to be getting ourselves into? And so you might be able to see that on the suggested pacing guide, it offers the introduction, which is kind of that hooking into that prior knowledge, but then it gives the learn the events. And much like the middle school talked about, within all of this, we can adjust and differentiate for different learning styles, for various language learners and any IEP situations. And so Lexile adjustments can be made, but it kind of mind maps it out for us. What I ended up doing to kind of just test this is I built a lesson around the world history book. I generally teach a photo analysis lesson on World War I. And what I did is I took from the book an inquiry, compelling question, and I incorporated that into my lesson, my existing lesson. And what I really like about the offerings is that they're completely customizable. And so it's not like Bill's been teaching for 30 years. He doesn't have to just throw everything that he's put his heart and soul into. He can build off of what he's put his heart and soul into with this customizable lesson option. And so I gave it a shot and I had a lot of success. It was really cool. I had the students use primary source images like you see on this slide. And what they were asked to do and challenged to do with a compelling question was to ultimately take a roll of a photograph and then they were to write a letter home. And I was able to develop context by differentiating through adjustments and Lexiles for different learners. I was able to use various resources and kind of copy and paste and make it my own. And I felt like the students were ultra engaged and it was just super user friendly for me. And it kind of just echoed what we already kind of knew, which was that this is just a well-rounded curriculum. This is just again another snapshot of like what these units look like for us as we're looking to kind of dive in. And again, they align with what we're already doing. How old are the textbooks that we currently have?
21 years old.
21 years old. So they're I guess I wasn't in high school, you know, but I feel like I should have been in high school 21 years ago, but no. You know, they interestingly kind of still align with the work that we put into our offerings. And so it seems like a natural textbook for us at the high school that really already aligns a lot of what we're already doing. And so you can see by the little Oregon symbols that the various units are marked with topics that include content and or activities enhanced for Oregon. And there are a couple of requirements from our state, Senate Bill
13, studying federally recognized indigenous tribes of Oregon. Working on that one for a few years now, so.
And so they're like taking this into consideration, of course, for us, and it kind of takes some of that legwork out of it for us, which we appreciate.
And just to jump in a little bit, I'm really excited and grateful you're considering it for economics, because that's one where having some updated information will be a benefit to students, along with all the history stuff.
Yeah, and part of this offering is active learning. And I know that Kendra mentioned this, but it's an interface that allows for updated resources for us that are really like engaging for students. And I find that the platform, the interface behind it is very intuitive, and it just allows for kind of easy navigation. And so that is included with all Oregon packages, correct? Which is cool, that Oregon kind of requires that as part of the package. But between the digital platforms and then the ebooks, but then of course the hard copy books, which I think a lot of us like to have something tangible in our hands that we can comb through and look at the maps like Candace is doing.
Yeah.
Is very meaningful, and we're really excited about this. So thank you.
But they put it
Postponement?
Do we have any questions? I think we need to have an opportunity to ask questions or make comments.
Sorry, you go first. When you were showing the McGraw Hill, group like scoring. And you were flipping through some of the pages, and I don't know who was doing the scoring of it, but I noticed that like teacher support, student support and something else, it showed that there was some room for improvement. What does that look like for you guys?
And so that was world history, and so that caught my eye also, and that's why I wanted to dive in. Because one of the ones, which is partially meets expectations, was supports for teachers, and I'm like, hold up here, like I gotta look into this. And so just diving in, it's a lot. But you know, after a couple of hours, it becomes more intuitive, and with the supports that are being offered through professional development, I didn't really see that lacking. Like initially it's a lot, and so I can see where maybe that could be scored that way. But you know, I didn't find from a teacher perspective it to be troubling. And then going through and adjusting for the lesson that I created on that World War I photo analysis and letters home, I really was kind of mindful of that in terms of like, okay, I know that I can handle it from my perspective. How about from us, the supports for students, because it was also a one for that. And had the kids jump into the digital platforms, and their response to me with the thermometer that I asked them for were generally thumbs up. So they experienced the interface, and I was able to do some adjustments in Lexiles and make some slight differentiations within that lesson. And so I don't know, this is my first time going through like this process, but I think that from my interaction with it, that it's not something that I'm worried about.
Just a couple different comments. I love the fact that we're actually gonna put books in the classrooms that they're gonna wanna read. I have been doing a lot of reading, it seems like the past year or so, around the devastation that technology does on young brains in terms of learning, and the school, oddly enough, may be the opportunity for kids to actually experience less technology now by mandating that. So all the things that support less technology in the classroom is fantastic. And it was just the other day, I was reading Norway is investing like millions of dollars to get rid of technology and go back to books. Like, I love this. So all these books make me really happy, so thank you. And I know as my kids went through the middle school, there were additional requirements to read outside of school, like a couple language arts books. One of them had to have a social studies tied to it. You're nodding your head, kind of like, yes, we still make kids do outside reading. I love that. As Bill and Jesse talk about the primary sources, I think that's fantastic. Watching my kids go through writing research papers in Mr. Martin's class, that the college credit opportunity through his class was the most strenuous for both of my kids, and they're each different types of learners. I didn't know what it was gonna be like for my son after watching my daughter. Most strenuous, having to find primary resources. They had to go to the Eugene Library and actually start looking things up, and I was teaching them how to use the catalog to go find things. It was like, this is the best. So any of those things that actually get them back into learning, I at first wondered, is it just a recognition? Because that's what I had to do, so it was familiar and that's why I liked it. But after doing so much reading, it makes them think in a different way where the computer is not handing them things. And I think it helps kids figure out how to navigate the world. So I love all of this. I love everything that you mentioned. So
thank you for keeping all those things that are so important to teaching them how to critically think.
Probably, thank you for the kind words, we're all grappling with AI and.
Yeah.
How that's gonna work, so going back to some basics. Opportunity we get with these new books.
Yeah.
Bill, you talked about Indigenous peoples' history and it being in this curriculum. Currently, you're using supplemental curriculum to teach that, so kudos to this curriculum for bringing that in, so you don't have to supplement. Kendra, you were talking about the use of data, formative assessments. Who gets it, who didn't get it, review, reteach, what have you, before moving on. Did I understand you to say that you could do that at the end of a lesson, or you could? You know, if they got it during the lesson?
Yeah, it's part of the online textbook, so it'll have them answer a question and then you'll be able to see, like, it'll collect the data from the question, and if a student if they get it wrong, then it's supposed to highlight it in the reading, so they know where to go back to look again, to fix their problem, and then we'll get that information, which is nice because we get that information when we grade it by hand. But sometimes that information isn't ready for the very next day to get going, and what we need to do, so.
No, that's crazy that you can pull that data right now. After a lesson and know going in the next day what you're going to review or reteach. It's amazing.
I was excited.
I mean, that really is efficient instruction. That's perfect. Good choice on the curriculum. Any other questions? No? It's a tough one. It's a tough adoption, so really all of you. That's a good job.
I'll mention the postponement, you'll see an attachment there for elementary, so I'm gonna speak on behalf of Creswell. They are not up here presenting because there's actually a lot of overlap with the standards and some of the materials they're already using in school, so they would like extra time to see where gaps are, where we already have alignment, where that instruction is happening and catching those standards. So there's an effort there to be fiscally wise in how we invest, but also that's a common theme that we're finding in Lane counties. Many of our elementary are saying, we're gonna pause and take a closer look. So we are asking, which you'll see in your board packet, for an extension on that so that we can do some more work on that piece.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We will move forward in the agenda to the superintendent's report, and then we'll jump right into the adoption, so you guys don't have to stay for the whole meeting. So Mike, I will move to.
Okay, so the activities and programs that I've been involved in, you see the list there. My highlights for the month of April were the baseball softball games and getting to see the kids out there playing on the fields. And the CTE building materials delivered. That was I had to celebrate that. Seeing that stuff come in was really significant to me. Well, to a lot of us. But then in my facilities report, I highlighted red, which are the items that we accomplished, the construction items that we accomplished in the month of April. And in green, the ones we moved forward with that we're working on. So when it comes to at the CPE building, everything is being cleared out. The rock is laid, and we're preparing to set the foundation. And with 4 to 6 weeks, you should see the building up. The shell of the building up. Maybe 8 weeks. We'll see what's happening this next week, but getting close. Any questions on my activities? What's happening with the projects? We do have a bond oversight committee meeting coming up next week, so we'll catch up a little bit on that and where we are with the budget, but we're on schedule with the budget and the project.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from Superintendent Johnson? I should stop saying that.
No, that's not.
No, okay, so let's move to new business. First item is to adopt the CMS social studies curriculum. We can get a motion to do that.
I'll make a motion to adopt the Cindy Jackson CMS Social Studies curriculum.
Thank you. Any discussion before we vote?
Thanks for all your work going into evaluating.
Yes, thank you. I can't imagine how long it takes to go through all those different textbooks, but they look amazing.
And thank you for using the same growth track one word in it. Just sitting here.
Yeah.
And to Amy and Chad and Judy, thank you for leading through and supporting them through the process.
Okay, all in favor? Motion passes. You guys, of course, are welcome to stay, but you're also more than free to. There would have been 8 meetings, but I understand if you're not.
You all.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming in.
Okay, the next item we have is to vote on approving the adoption postponement through the CES. Can I get a motion for that?
I move to approve the CVS social media adoption fulfillment for 26-27.
Thank you. Mike is the
He's
seconder.
the second, I didn't even have to look. I was like,
He's the seconder tonight. Any discussion? I think the memorandum was pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
So that's great. Okay, all in favor? Motion carries. Okay, let's keep moving. The next we have is to approve the CMS FBLA out-of-state travel request. Kendra, you here to
Sure,
give us the details?
So we had, from the high school and the middle school, we had a ton of students qualify for national, which was fantastic. The high school had a ton of first place. I think I don't know if they came and showed off their first place, but they had a ton of state winners. And the middle school did too. We kind of pulled people to see, it's San Antonio, Texas this year. So we kind of pulled the kids to see who would be interested, and it ended up being a very small group of one, whose parent was already planning, like, she's a 6th grader, it's Miss Dahlia Rains, who's an elementary school teacher. So it would be her traveling with her mom, and then I will be traveling, because one of the things we realized a few years back was you have to have an advisor go. And so because they also have work duties to do, and then you just have to have an advisor. So I'll be with them, and so we'll be traveling, but she'll be traveling with her parent, flying with her parent. And then I'm just navigating this is where you're supposed to be for competition. These are, buying the stuff that we're supposed to buy to, yeah. And then also the duties that we have to do. And Charmin will be there to accept our chapter awards, because we should have some. So she'll be there to accept them for the chapter. So so San Antonio, Texas this year. So
Wow, that's hot.
yeah, yes, that's what it is, yeah. I was one of those students like, is it gonna be warm? I'm like, I'm really gonna guess yes.
Yeah.
So.
And then each individual person, including Mrs. Anderson, does their own individual fundraising. We as a school set up a lot of fundraisers for them to participate in, but each student has an account basically within our spreadsheet that shows the fundraiser and how much they've earned. So for instance, when we took that large group to Anaheim last year, for some of those students, they had been fundraising and working, and so had we for our individual tickets since 6th grade. So anyway, that's probably part of the reason why there's less, is we had that large group of kids who had been fundraising for 3 years, and
Yeah, we knew we were going to Anaheim because we were not gonna miss Anaheim.
I
That was,
can't imagine why.
yeah, so we had a plan, but lucky me, a whole bunch of parents didn't sign up for the autumn one, so I got some condiments for lots of that.
You do best.
Yeah. So, but now it's paying off.
I know.
I did see her.
Oh, okay, well, very exciting, and always impressed on how much you guys have done with that FBLA program at the middle school. It's very impressive. Yeah. So let's take a quick vote. Can I get a motion to approve the out-of-state travel for FBLA?
I move to approve the motion for San Antonio.
Second? Mike, there's a second.
I'm like, I can do it, but this is fun now.
Oh, perfect. All in favor? Motion carries. Congratulations, and I hope you guys have a wonderful time and win.
Yes.
I like to
We can win, no pressure.
No pressure.
I was leaving extra room in my suitcase.
That's
Pretty competitive.
Yeah, I noticed, so. No, you guys have done amazing, thank you so much. Okay, let's keep moving, the next item we have is to approve cooperative flag football.
Yeah, so this is proposed to us, or I'm proposing it to you to recommend that we move forward with this cooperative sponsorship with Cottage Grove for girls flag football. It's a little late in the season, but the ADs, the athletic directors, did get together before the season with the coaches, and they had an agreement. They're club sports, so it wasn't really anything that they had to process to give board approval for. But then OSAA came in and said, well, you know, or at least we hear, I've heard that OSAA stepped in and said, no, we've changed everything with the club sports now. We want to be if you're gonna do a cooperative, we want to see board agreement on the cooperative, so they're coming in after the fact to give permission to continue.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the cooperative agreement with Cottage Grove for girls flag football?
I'll make.
The motion,
Yeah,
yeah.
motion to approve the OSA cooperative sponsorship of Creswell and Cotton Grove High Schools for the girls flag football team.
Thank you, second. Okay, all in favor? Yeah. Motion passes. Okay, next we have a discussion, Marilyn brought this to me the other day around the CMS promotion and high school graduation presenters. And we also wanted to talk about this school's promotion and if we want to move our meeting earlier or shorten it next month so that we can all go. Did I get that?
Yep.
Did you have questions for us or just?
Well, last year it was a discussion about this and someone brought it up that, you know, our meeting is at 6, theirs is at 7, that's kind of close.
Yeah.
And so board consensus was to move the board meeting to 5:30, the public budget hearing to 5:15. So if that's what happened last year.
Yeah, it seems reasonable unless anyone feels differently.
I think I wrote that mine last year.
Yeah, is that okay? Do you have any?
Nope.
Okay. Everyone okay with moving our meeting next month to budget hearing at 5:15, meeting starts at 5:30, we'll keep it snappy. I do think FBLA is gonna come present next month, since they weren't able to come this month, but we'll just let Mona know what time parameters we're working with.
So board consensus.
Yeah. I see all head shaking, Tim, are you okay with it? Yes,
Okay,
in agreement.
all right.
Okay, thank you very much. Did you need anything from us for the high school or you're good?
In terms of the graduation ceremony,
Yeah, we'll be there.
that's all you have to do.
Perfect,
You'll be on stage and shaking hands and passing out the things.
perfect. We will be there.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I do have one more question.
Please.
So is everyone going to both ceremonies or?
We already surveyed them, so.
Oh, you did?
They are all going to the
Oh, okay.
graduation ceremony
Okay,
and
good.
6 are going to the awards assembly.
Okay,
And then CMS, I can't remember, and we all said we're going to CMS. We took a survey meeting, so, yeah.
I'm going to CMS.
As am I.
I'll be there.
Okay.
I'll be there.
I'm gonna go on free.
So is someone gonna bring sunscreen in case it's hot?
I thought you were gonna say snacks.
No,
Sunscreen.
I'll bring that.
It was hot last year.
So hot last year.
High school is fine, but the middle school is good. Okay, sounds great. Next we have is information item about the budget committee meeting on 5:20.
that's the information. 5:20, 6 p.m. at the Pioneer in Zoom. And now it's gonna guide us through it.
We gonna get the materials in advance?
Yes,
Okay,
should be posted Friday night.
Friday night. Okay, like this Friday night?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think Marilyn's putting out, this has put Monday morning on her draft email, but I hope it's Friday night. I have a question. Yes. Mostly for you probably. Have all of the people, like the community members who are, like the people who are on the budget committee, have they been notified of the meeting or when it was? Cause I just had somebody asking me, like, I had no idea about it, two of them actually.
yes, Yes, I did, and it's been some time, but I have everything ready to go because I wanna put on the agenda when the budget hearing is and all of that, so I had to wait till tonight, tomorrow it's going out. And, yeah, but it's been a while. And I've sent them the budget calendar prior.
Okay.
So,
Sometimes we don't know things.
so they're gonna get another reminder.
Okay.
With a link, yeah,
And
and information about when they can access the budget.
There's a lot going on and there's a lot of information coming out. It's hard to
It is hard.
remember everything, but yeah, it's sort of. Be good to get them up, get another reminder out for folks. It's a good thing.
Okay, any other comments, questions? Sorry, I'm gonna put this in my calendar really quick, because myself will forget. I just like this.
That's why we have in mind.
It's not me.
Good.
That's 16, okay. And then, did I hear you say you're gonna send out an email on Monday?
No, I'm gonna do it tomorrow.
Okay, tomorrow, with and you said we're gonna post the budget information, is that on the website?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, the budget doc will go on the website.
Great, thank you very much, both of you.
It gets published in the Chronicle tomorrow.
Okay,
So you, in your reminder about the meeting, are you gonna let them know that the budget documents will be on the website? Oh, okay, thank you.
can you maybe
I'll
add
get information on how to find it.
Yeah,
Call me if you have any questions.
okay, great. Okay, wonderful. Next we have is trustee report. Mike, I'll start down there with you.
I went to Lane ESP meeting, walked in the door, and all of a sudden I was budget chairman, so I get two clicks for one to go to the meeting and two to go to the budget meeting.
You got it.
Been to a couple of baseball games, and I went, I went to the girls tennis districts down at Coos Bay Monday and Tuesday this week, and we came home and watched the boys win the league title for the first time in what, I don't know, years and years, but that was cool. And I think I got a softball game in, or part of the softball game at one time. But the tennis districts was really interesting. I realized that when I coached the girls flag football team at Oregon State, I found out that girls can get just as wound up in a game as guys can, and the same thing in tennis. It was really fun to watch. The girls did well, but it was really fun to watch the whole thing.
Wonderful.
That's it.
Thank you so much, Mike, and congratulations on your appointment of budget chair.
Yeah. I just sat down and Tony looks out and he says, "Let's vote for Anderson."
Oh.
I used to like him back then.
Yeah. Wonderful, thank you. Debbie.
The only thing I did was I went to one of the boys' volleyball games, which I promptly got hit in the face by a volleyball player. Not a really safe environment, you know, to fit in there, but yeah, but it was good. It was fun to watch, and they had some power behind the ball. But that's the.
I forgot that you're soccer mom, so you probably haven't been
Yeah,
nearly
no,
playing
no.
volleyball.
Soccer ball.
Yeah, you're good.
Right now, soccer balls are not as scary. You see them coming from a longer way. I got them, like, they were coming, well, there were two teams playing, two matches playing. That was really hard to watch. But yeah, it was good. It was fun to watch. I went to the Bulldog Market on Saturday. I got to go in early since I was going to wherever we were going for track on Saturday, somewhere. I don't remember where we went. Got all of my hanging baskets, that was great. And I bought a bunch of these tomato cages that have yet to come home. That evidently Logan built, so I'm excited about that. All the track meets, baseball games, part of the softball game. Logan, got to check out the chocolate return that Logan built for the track thing out there. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Rogers.
I met with Superintendent Johnson for coffee and discussed a book that I just got published. And other than that, I really haven't been up to much.
Congratulations.
You?
Lacey?
I've been to track meets, I did go to the Bulldog Market, love seeing all the stuff, I think I'm maxed out on cutting boards. They actually, I mean, they're so pretty with the different stripes, and I can't resist, but every year I buy a couple, and so Lance was like, no more, you
Yeah.
can't fit any more in the cupboard, so I'm gonna have to gift some.
Send them to college with them. We'll have them.
The whole stuff is-
For all the cutting, he's gonna do.
So I need the Woods kids to do something different, because I still like what they do, but I can't fit any more cutting boards in. I'm trying
Maybe
to,
coasters.
I've got all my thinking baskets.
Good.
Yeah, I love the Bulldog Market, I love being able to support the kids, yeah.
I tried getting Josiah to have them make pizza peels.
Oh, that'd be good.
I would say one.
Yeah, and
Give all
I
the ideas.
did have a chance to help at the track meet that we hosted on the field. I actually love all the times when the coaches are walking around and talking about what great facilities we have. So love overhearing that. And when you measure javelin, you're doing a squat for every single throw. The lovely woman that volunteered with me, we counted up our squats for that day. We were over 200.
Oh my goodness.
I was having a hard time walking up the 3 flights of stairs to my office the next day. So I'm just kidding.
That's great.
That's all. I just want you to feel my.
That was good. I also have been to some softball games and practices. I've been trying to go to softball. I did enjoy part of the middle school track meet, region districts the other day. I did have to talk to a couple Junction City boys about not throwing rocks at people and onto things.
Good for you.
So, I only 3 times, but, and I feel like that's all I've done. Mostly softball in fairness. That's it. Okay, anything else? If not, I think we are at the
That's a
end.
good question. This is gonna sound really dumb, but Mike, is there any classes at any level here at the school that teaches kids how to stay out of the street, or at least watch where they're going when they walk across the street?
We do safe routes to school.
I drive a lot, and I actually had a kid standing on the corner with his back to the street. And I stopped and waited, and he looked like he was gonna talk to a gentleman, and so I started around the corner, and he started backing right up to me. If I hadn't locked up my brakes, he ran into my door. And
Are we talking like elementary age? Cause that's the level of education, correct? I
No,
think by.
we do safe routes to school at the middle school too, but we have our little ducklings, man. I mean, they get the safety jackets on and everything. And you have one adult in the front, one adult in the back. They show them where to stop at a corner, how to get a wait to go across the street. All that starts here, pre-K in the summer.
Maybe that needs to.
Was
be
your
pre-K through
kid
college.
high school age?
he was either late middle school or late high school. I'm not trying to be
Say no more.
I'm not trying to be a smarty, it's just,
We do for a small district, actually, for any district, we do a lot of education around
Good.
safe routing,
good.
a lot.
Kids going across the corners, or I'm just afraid somebody's gonna get hit. It's just, and little kids when they're on their bikes and you're behind them and they look at you, that's the way they go, right? And I go out on the other lane and walk this park right there till she got back on the other side of the road. It just, but she's, I guess she's never been hit, but it just. Anyway, I know it probably was, but I just, that reassures me, and I'm glad to hear that.
Well, as they get older, we could probably institute some kind of a parade, safe routes going in and out of the parking lot at the high school. But we with the speed bumps in there.
Yeah.
You can't eat all, and well, it's just, it's adults too.
Yeah.
It's not just.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, we go to the game and we have adults flying there and driving the wrong way on the one way, they don't care.
I watched someone the other day leave the high school and drive this, where the buses come. And I was
Oh,
like,
and the road back.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
I swear they keep this up.
I think they drove around the gate.
It's just a suggestion.
I know.
Just as a ship, we only have gates there.
They can't drive around this gate.
Yeah, I don't know what, I can only see it, I was at the field, so I can only see him going, I'm thinking, that's not gonna end well. It was late, so I knew there were no buses coming, so I was like, that is what it was. Okay, I think we then are done for today. I'll adjourn, have a wonderful, yes, have a wonderful evening.
Not really.
I know, it's about to that is, well, we like. Okay, these are beautiful. Yes, I know.
I love them. Different subjects.
I don't lie, I kind of wanted to take one home.
Curious, my, I really want to be.